Labs, one of the hardest maps on Escape from Tarkov, filled with absolute gamers, cheaters, and rats. It has some of the best loot, and we made roughly 1,000,000 rubles this raid, as well as some of the best PvP to date. And today I'm going to be doing 100 runs of the map, showcasing every extract, every fight and every death. So today I will be surviving 100 days on Labs. On day 1 I started my raid off more PvP focus, and I started to sniff out any enemy players. And then I noticed one right in front of me. Our first kill was just that easy, and I noticed that red room was opened, meaning that someone was just in there. And while checking out red room, I noticed someone was sneaking up behind me. Our first Labs raid was a success. We killed 3 players in a quick succession, and after fighting them I went to look around for any more players. But then I went to Black Room and I noticed a couple of bodies. It was a bloodbath, but inside Black there was a bag left of me, and inside was a ULAC and a Meta M4. And after I searched the whole map and realised there was no more players left, I went back to loot the bodies that I killed, and then this happened. A raider almost shot me in the head and I had no clue where he was, so I couldn't loot the kill I got on the stairs. So I went over to loot the guy near Hangar, where I was safe from the raiders. And when I made my way to Hangar, I noticed one raider left out alone, and this was my time to get some raider loot. And the only loot he had was a Valde, which was pretty disappointing. But other than that, we extracted that sewer, which I'll be doing a lot throughout this video, and we extracted with 7.1k XP, and I believe with adding up all the value of every item as well as counting gear, we got 600k worth of items. On day 2 we spawned next to G elevator, which is perfect because it's next to Black. Hold up, I forgot to add that I do have 4 out of 6 of the Labs keycards in my Gamma case. Those keycards being yellow keycard, black keycard, violet and red. And all of these keycards are seriously expensive, and in this video I'll be trying to use every single one of my keycards in every raid. But then I went upstairs to open Black Room and I looted as many stims as I could. And when I went outside the Black Room, this happened. I almost got a one-tap because I stood still for so long. One guy came up the stairs and he got absolutely demolished, and all I had to do was kill this last guy to win the fight for Black Room. Our first death out of many, and I can tell you for a fact I will not miss this screen at all. I always think, is there anything I could have done better, or anything I could have done worse? Was I a washed up player, or maybe I was just unlucky? On day 3 we got lucky with a praised empty raid, so I decided to loot as much as I could, starting off at Black Room. And the only thing we got out of red was a press pass, which makes red totally worth 50 mil. That raid was a huge success, and we made roughly around 1,000,000 rubles from all the items we got. To summarise the next days, it was an absolute disaster. It was a bloodbath and it was just full of deaths. These next raids were absolute hell and I was going insane. Ah! I can't win! On day 12 I just wanted to survive, meaning I would go around the outside of the map trying to get any loot that I can get my hands on. With this method I was able to survive, and after all the deaths in the last raid I had to get something under my belt as a win. This wasn't a dead raid and nothing interesting happened pretty much, so I decided to just extract with what I got, and in total we got 880,000 rubles. And our next raid was also a success. I went next to server room to loot the computers and I heard a person near me. As I tried to run for cover, he tried to shoot me. So I decided to hold this angle as it was pretty secure and I knew I could get him. And then, the split second I looked away, and people are out here saying that Tarkov timing does not exist. I'm telling you, it does. And our next raid was an actual success. We made our way over to Black Room and we opened it. And then I heard a person outside. Oh wait, this wasn't the raid where we actually survived. Okay, it must be the next raid where we No, we really didn't survive that one either. Okay, it has to be this raid. Dude, what is going on? The next raid. The next raid. At this point I was sick of dying, and now it is my turn. So this raid was to go full PvP mode and massacre anyone I come across.
Headshot.
We sadly died, but I got 3 of them and that's all that mattered. On day 20 it was loot focused, meaning I was going around the map using my keycards and getting the loot. There was a player in this raid due to black being opened, but I had no clue where he was. So we extracted, and with all the loot that we got we made roughly over 900k. I forgot to start recording, but I made my way on day 21 to Blue Keycard Room. By the time I got there, I heard someone inside.
It was a fucking ambush.
I did manage to kill one through the tent, but with enemies coming at all 3 sides of me, that was a pretty bad day. On day 22 we exploded out of spawn and went straight to Red Room. And when I was looting, I heard a man outside. He was acting like a Chad, jumping around and stuff, and I had to put him in his place. And by put him in his place, I meant give him a little smooch. But other than that, he had some pretty decent gear, which I was happy to take. With a nade going off, I'm pretty sure this was his teammate, and I think this is the last person in this lobby. On day 23, it was another empty raid, meaning cue the loot montage. We extracted and we got 4.8k XP, and this was our best raid yet. We got multiple rare items such as a GPU and an MCC, as well as some raider loot, which the Luga armor goes around for 540 rubles, and in total we got over 2.2 million rubles worth of gear. On day 24, I'll keep it short, I went up the stairs and I died. Yep. That was it. On day 25 was our first raid where we got our most expensive item yet, the Ledex, worth at the time 1 million rubles, and at this time I just wanted to get out as this was a lot of money at the time. That raid was pretty dull and nothing really happened, and all the other rooms had pretty much nothing in it, and I actually forgot to take screenshots of the loot, so I can't do any fancy animations. And in that raid we got 1.9 million rubles. On day 26 we spawned at the sewer, and I wanted to be more PvP focused this raid, so what I did was I ran straight to Black Room. At this point I actually thought it was a dead raid, and then a goddamn ghoul. This wasn't the fight I wanted. I wanted a PvP fight and not a ghoul battle. So the next raid, I just wanted to fight. I heard people to my right and I pushed them as soon as I could. And of course, they were looking in my direction. On day 28, I was in Red Room and I heard someone outside and I was getting ready for a battle. And we won the 1v1, and I had to get the spoils of war. And he had some pretty nice gear and a blackjack, which was pretty nice. When I made my way over to Yellow Room, I noticed there was a body on the floor as well. And as I was running away to get a more clearer angle on the body, I seen another body down the corridor. There was a bloodbath in this raid, and I didn't even know what happened, as I never heard these gunshots at all. The only person I ever seen was the one guy, and this guy only had a little KS, so he was a little rat. But as I went back to loot the guy next to Yellow, this guy was absolutely loaded. He had a full meta kit with the new repair feature, which I have never seen. As this was the first time I found this enhanced gear, I kinda wanted to extract it, and it was a successful raid. We got 3.7k XP, and in terms of loot, we didn't get much valuable stuff, but we did get a lot of valuable gear, just coming at around 1 million rubles worth of stuff. Day 29 was a weird day. This was a more PvP focused raid, so I was trying to find any players that I could. And as I got the hang of, I wanted to check the loot spawns on the floor, and then a voice came from the room.
What's up, brother? How's it going, man?
At this point I was talking in VoIP, and obviously I wasn't recording my microphone at the time, but he needed an item.
I'm trying to find a far forward. How often do you find them in here?
My mission this raid was to find this guy a far forward converter for his solar array. In VoIP I asked him if he wanted to be friendly, and he agreed, and we found our first friendly player out of this experience.
Normally do. I normally play labs a little bit more often, but this is my first or second labs on this wipe. I'm level like 4. We got a bang. I'm watching your left.
At this point I was streaming in Discord, and my friends wanted me to kill him. It's free. But I couldn't. The flashbangs he done to clear the rooms were just too funny, so I continued with my loot run with him.
This is my third wipe I've started, and it's been tough. Poke my nose down here real quick.
My new friend heard raiders down below, and he wanted to investigate.
I think they're down there on the left. I'm not 100% certain with how fucked up the audio is now. And this is a hard area to fight them. What do you think?
What the fuck?
You alright?
Well, no shit. What have we got here? A fucking comedian, private joker.
After killing all the raiders, it was time to extract. We showed each other's name, and we both done YouTube, which was a weird coincidence. So big up Scope Stoked for helping me out this raid. I failed again to get a screenshot of all the loot, but we extracted with 1.3 million rubles worth of gear, as we got a Bitcoin and a GPU. On day 30 we got another empty raid, and I just want to say if you guys could like the video, comment, and if you like this content subscribe, it helps me out a lot. I try to get to 1,000 subscribers, and if you guys like and comment, it shows me that you like the video so I can produce more of this content, because this video took hundreds of hours as well as doing all the raids. It helps me out a lot more than you can imagine. Anyway, back to the loot montage. We extracted with not much rare stuff, but we did get small items that slowly added up, and in the end we got 1.1 million rubles. On day 31 I decided to be an absolute rat. While on my normal loot run, I heard someone buy blue offices, so what I decided to do is I knew he was heading over here was to set up a trap and wait for him to enter.
Who is this little man?
I'm sorry Toad, but the game is the game. You've been absolutely ratted on. This guy had some pretty decent loot as he was stocked up from the other side of the map, but after this I went on my way with my loot run. And with this loot showcase, this raid was pretty good as we got 1.9 million rubles worth of gear and items. On day 32 we spawned on the stairs, and while looting I heard someone press the buzzer for raiders. At this point I was trying to hunt them down and I couldn't find them for the life of me. But what I did hear was some raiders down this corridor. Dying to raiders and labs is possibly the worst feeling out. I was chasing a ghost and then I died by a ghost, if that even makes sense. What the hell am I on about? On day 33 to 36, these were all dead raids, so there's going to be a lot of loot montages coming up. Day 33 was pretty awful for loot, but we did get around 1 million rubles worth of stuff. Day 34 was a decent raid. We didn't get much stuff as well, but we got 1.1 million rubles. This raid is pretty decent as we got 2 GPUs and a bunch of other good raider stuff, and we got 1.9 million rubles. And raid 36 was alright, we didn't get much stuff but we made 1.2 million rubles. My next raid was absolute carnage and it was a battle for black yet again. I was getting absolutely surrounded from the front of me, left of me and behind. I got headshotted and luckily my corridor saved me. What are the chances of that? The bodies were piling up and all I had to do was kill this one guy. I killed 4 people and sadly I died to the last one, but that raid was probably my most fun PvP experience due to all the bodies just piling up at the stairs. On day 38 I decided to run to server room to see if I can find any enemy players. A classic Tarkov death. I haven't had one of them in a while when you just get one tapped from absolute nowhere. Day 39 was actually a decent raid. We went to Red Room and I heard someone by the stairs. So my natural instinct, what I decided to do was chase him. I was checking out the main area of labs and I could see someone across the way. He got absolutely domed and I went to collect the loot from his body.
Oh shit! A rat!
We somehow survived that rat attack, and this guy had some decent loot with a TV and an AS valve. The rat had some pretty shit gear, and that's probably why he couldn't kill me. He only had a Vector pretty much and some trooper armor. But after that I went to investigate in the middle of the map as I heard some footsteps. I went to chase this guy down, and unluckily someone was waiting for me. On day 40 I decided to take out the Chaddy Ash 12. Well, looking at blue offices I could never find anybody until I heard some footsteps at manager's office. Hold up, I forgot to mention that manager's glass is actually bulletproof, so me using an Ash 12 here was pretty bad, as it most likely wasn't even going through the glass to hit him. Because the higher pen ammo you have, the more chance it will pen this glass, and Ash 12 can only pen up to tier 4 armors. Anyway, back to the video. Fighting this guy at managers was a pretty bad mistake, and me not changing positions here was also a pretty bad mistake. So I was destined to die this raid because, well, skill issue. On day 41 we spawned at a hangar and I went to look at the computers next to server room until somehow he missed to kill me when I was standing still. I turned my flashlight on to see if I could bait them. And it worked. The first guy had some pretty good gear with an MDR and two very nice little rigs for loot. The other guy had some alright gear, he only had an MAC and a UMP. And we continued our loot run. In this raid we didn't get much items, but in total we did get 1.2 million rubles worth of items. On day 42 we spawned at the exact same place and I ran over to Black Room. When I got here I heard footsteps right above me near green key cards, so I knew they were on their way to Black. But when I finished looting they were fighting another team on the stairs, so I decided to third party and rush them. This was a pretty bad death, and that staircase was like the Resident Evil scene with all the goddamn lasers. Three idiots shining their lasers like a Calvin Harris show. What was going on? Day 43 was another empty raid, but in this raid we got a lead X, meaning this could be our most valuable raid yet. We extracted, and with the lead X we only got 2 million rubles, still a banger raid, but we didn't beat our record. Day 44 was a weird raid. I was doing my normal loot run and for 3 frames I noticed someone. I was so confused at this point, I didn't know if I seen someone or if it was just my eyes playing tricks on me, but I was still super cautious. This was a decently packed raid and it was time for some PvP. I decided to look over the body which I just killed. That guy who just shot me there was right behind me and he somehow failed to kill me when I was sitting there standing still. So for revenge for him sneaking up behind me, I went around to try and get an angle on him. I heard him right above me and I went to push. Unlucky for me, there was a third party waiting for me. Day 45 was a strange day. I did my usual loot run at Black Room and I made my way over to Hangar. But when I got here, there was 2 people outside.
What is drugs?
My aim was horrible here, but I felt like I was fighting two meth heads.
No, he's smoking the Zaza. I see the smoke.
On day 46, I thought it was a dead raid as I ran around the whole map and never heard anyone, so I decided to loot. But then I heard raiders throwing nades, meaning there was a rat, and when there's a rat, that means it's time to dip. So I ran like a coward all the way through the sewers like a rat, and sadly I didn't get a screenshot of all the loot. This is the best picture I could find, but we made 900,000 rubles. Day 47 was the goblin gas raid, and by goblin gas I meant someone was throwing green gas everywhere trying to knock everyone out, but I came prepared. With this gas mask equipped, I decided to hunt down the goblins who were throwing the gas. Both of the goblins got eliminated and there shall be no more goblins in labs. While packing my mag for the next potential fight, a buzzer went off. That is hanger buzzer, meaning there is also another goblin in this raid. I went over to investigate and eliminate another potential goblin in labs. There were so many gunshots, so I knew he was close. I decided to push up as I'm so sure he was behind these big crates. This death annoyed me so much as dying to a shotgun is possibly the worst thing that can happen in labs. So the next two raids were empty raids and I'm so glad as I needed this break, and looting away was my little vacation. We extracted with an average raid and we only got 1.4 million rubles. And yet again we extracted, we got a GPU, and yet again we got 1.4 million rubles. Day 50 marks a halfway point for this video, so what I decided to do was to provide some content and play aggressive. I went around the way to see if I can see anyone on the bodies yet again, and then I heard someone to my right. We were fighting right in the middle, so I decided to push around. So I tried to get an angle from above to shoot down on them. But I was sick of playing it safe, it's time to push. Now, I'm not going to say anything, but I think this was a pretty sus death. This guy had a very cheap weapon, and I know I proned and made a lot of noise, but the fact is he just barely peeked and shot right at me was a bit sus to me. Day 51 to 55 was an absolute disaster. It was death, after death, after death. And I started to lose a lot of money with these deaths as I had chatted out kits. But during day 55 I was getting PTSD of when I had this losing streak before. I can't win! And I was slowly losing my mind. On day 56, after all of the deaths, I was feeling so demotivated. I've died so many times in the past and I've yet to beat my top raid of 2.2 million rubles. I've looted so many labs lobbies and I've yet to beat it, and to be honest, was it even beatable in the first place. As I was over 50% done with this challenge, I didn't even think I could beat it, and I was feeling sad as this wasn't the labs where I used to be, and I knew deep down I could have done a lot better in this challenge, and I could have done better in the last 50 days. But you know what? This raid could be it. This could be the raid that beats all raids. I've came so close to beating the 2.2 million ruble mark, but I've yet to do it. But you know what? I was motivated to beat this record. If it takes me another 50 raids, so be it. But that 2.2 million ruble raid was a stain on this video, and I had to get it washed. In this weapon box we got an MPPV rig, which is the best loot rig in the game, meaning we can store more loot and get a bigger profit. This raider had 60 rounders which were selling for 39k at the time, meaning our profit was slowly going up. As I was looting around, there was no really high value items that was giving us the boost to beat the record until I looted this random duffel bag. A lead X puts us straight in the game again, meaning this raid could still be our most profitable raid yet. I was trying to extract and raiders were right behind me. But at this point I still wasn't beating my record, and I only had roughly 2.1 million rubles. So these next raiders better have some good items so I could beat my record. It was only 2 raiders and I was praying they had some decent gear, and when I checked the raiders they had an AS Val and an AK, meaning we beat our record, and in total we made 2.5 million rubles this raid, a 300k increase from before, making this our best raid yet. Day 57 marks the day of carnage, as the next 3 raids were absolute hell and it was PvP focused, so it was time to
Fight and win!
Hey, that's pretty good.
After running across the map, I decided to check out green.
What are you doing? What are you doing?
Nothing. Me? Just hanging around.
He had a second teammate, so I decided to heal to try and fight him again. He wasn't playing aggressive at all and he was kinda stalling, so I decided to push him because I need to make some content here. And just like that, one tapped. This next raid was so short that I'm going to show you the entire thing. So there's going to be 0 cuts, so sit back and relax and enjoy the average labs experience. Yep, that's right, that labs raid lasted 25 seconds, it just shows you how fast these lobbies can be, and you definitely have to be on your toes. On day 59 I was doing my usual raid, going to Black Room. I opened it and there was a lead X inside. While picking up this lead X I was hearing some gunshots towards Red Room. So I went through Hangar and I decided to check it out. When I got to Red I actually couldn't see anyone until I heard the footsteps of a jumping Chad. I went to loot him and he had some really nice gear with some chatty John B glasses and a really nice mutant. But when in the middle of looting him, another jumping Chad came around. I don't know what this lobby was, but it was full of people who loved their spacebar. That was probably the biggest jump scare I've ever received in Tarkov. I absolutely shit myself. I went to push this guy as I thought he was pretty scared, and I think this was the last person out of the spacebar group. I ran out of ammo while fighting this guy, and that sadly cost my life. On day 60 I done my usual raid and ran to Black Room, but it was open. Yet again, another fight for Black Room. I decided to fall back as I needed to pack some mags, but when I was going to pack my mags there was people right in front of me and they never even knew I was here, so it was time for the rat attack. I somehow failed to kill someone standing still. I think honestly that is a new low even for me. On day 61 it was another empty raid, so you know the drill. This was a really good raid and we got a lot of high value items, making this raid a 2 million ruble raid. On day 62 it was a brawl for red as a 5-man group was coming my way, meaning I had to bunker down. They were trying to nade me out my bunker, but I was still staying put. After that fight I was pretty damaged and I had to heal, but we killed 3 out of 5 of the 5-man, meaning there was only 2 remaining. One of the worst deaths in Tarkov, desync. I was around the corner and I was still getting shot in the chest. But we get these unlucky raids sometimes, and I truly believed I could have killed that 5-man, and the past is the past, so we move on. After that horrible raid last raid, day 63 actually marks our most luckiest raids yet, because well, we got an empty raid, but we didn't get 1 GPU, we didn't get 2, we got 3. In 1 raid, and on top of all of the other loot that we picked up. We extracted this raid pretty early and we didn't really get much loot, but the GPUs paid a chunk of the money we earned and we got 1.5 million rubles. On day 64, the usual again, ran straight to Black Room to loot a little bit of stims. And after looting the middle area, I heard some footsteps over at Yellow, so I went to investigate. But when I got here, nothing was opened or touched. It felt like there was no one here. There was no doors open, there was no loot taken. It was really weird player behaviour, and at this point I thought there was a rat. So I went to do my usual loot run, and I went to loot Yellow, until someone was sprinting to me. I knew this guy was a good player from how he moved, so this was definitely a challenge. I got absolutely destroyed in that fight. I managed to hit his arm, but he managed to hit me in the head, so unlucky. On day 65 I spawned at the stairs, and while running to Black I heard an absolute stampede. So what I decided to do was trying to tap them in the head through this little peek in the door. But they were just too fast and I couldn't get a shot off, so I still ran to Black Room. But the same stampede I heard before were right at Black Room again. So this led X to my Gamma, I felt ballsy and I decided to push him. On day 66, I decided to take a SA-58 and I was going to mow people down in this raid. That KS almost one-tapped me, so I had to go away and heal.
Hi, how are you?
We won against the 3-man and they all had KS's, but in terms of gear they had some nice stacking gear, so that being attack 2s, rigs, takedown bags, MMAC rigs. These containers were pretty good to hold extra loot. This lobby was pretty looted, so the only thing I could really loot was just the key cards. But yeah, after that fight there was not much loot to get, as it was pretty rinsed. But in this raid we got 1.3 million rubles worth of gear and items. On day 67 this raid was a little bit sus. When I was running to blue office, I had a random shot get pinged, and then 1 second later he almost shot me at the door. Now, I'm not calling cheats or anything, but this was really suspect. It kind of felt like he was trying to shoot me through the wall at first, and then when I was actually visible, he almost hit me in the head. So in this raid, I kind of just wanted to get out with my sort of items, and I didn't really want to die to a cheater. So this raid didn't really have a story to tell, it was kind of a bummer. And with the loot we got, I mean, it's not much. But in the end, we got 900,000 rubles worth of gear and items. On day 68, I spawned near red and I was going to have a little munch before I started this raid. And I'd done my usual loot run by looting red and violet. But while looting red, I heard gunshots by blue offices, so I went to check it out. And when I got to blue office, I noticed the door was open, so my thinking, I thought the players were in there. And just like that, one tapped from absolute nowhere. Even looking back at this recording, I have no idea where this guy shot me from at all. But yet again, the raids just happen. You can just die from absolute nowhere. Welcome to Labs. On day 69 marks a special day because, you know. So what I had to do was buy some absolute drip to rizz up this raid. And the goal for this raid was to find love at first sight. And where did everyone go in Labs? Straight to black keycard. When I finished looting black, there was 2 people outside. So for some reason, I just started popping stims. Pretty sure my self-confidence in this Labs experience was shattered. So if I could ruin someone else's profit, that was a win for me. For some reason, I was getting shot in the back and my idiot brain thought, oh, just go back in the same spot, you'll be fine, and then I get shot in the back again. I don't know what I was thinking this raid, honestly. I think I just went feral all of a sudden. On day 70, by the way, you're going to get sick of me saying this, but on day 70, it was a fight for black room, and honestly, I feel like I'm having deja vu because I've never won a single black fight. But this could be the first fight that we actually win. Nope, I've lost again. I'm about to give up on these black fights because every time I'm fighting here, I always lose. I don't think I've won a single fight in here. The next 5 raids were absolutely full of non-stop PvP. All the chants were on at this time, so of course I tried to play at my absolute best to win these fights. day 76 was another dead raid, and in this raid I didn't want to die like the last 5 raids, so I decided to play it safe. And with this raid it was nothing really special, but we did make 1.1 million rubles. And on day 77 it was the exact same. And in this raid we didn't get much money. This might be the lowest money we've ever gotten, but in total we made 700k. On day 78 it was another guy running to Black Room, and the amount of deaths I've had at Black, there's no fucking way I'm surviving this. We actually bet the guy fighting for Black Room. Might be our first time in this video where we've actually done this. And the guy had some really nice gear with an MP7 and a nice tier 6 rig. But after killing this guy there was still more players in the raid, so I had to be cautious.
Сука, ёбнули нашего!
Hey!
And we went to leave this raid. I couldn't find any other players, they all pretty much extracted, and I'm sure they extracted through the parking area here. But this is our total loot that we got some very high value items, and in the end we made 1.7 million rubles this raid. On day 79 I came across the most rattiest player in existence. When I looted Black I went over to server room, you know, my usual loot run. But when I got to the computer area above the server room, this happened. A rat was behind the door waiting for me to go past. I don't think I've ever been ratted on in this challenge harder than this. And his name pretty much corresponded to the players that, you know, play this sort of playstyle. And to make it worse, he had a PPSH. Day 80 we were 80% done with this raid challenge, and in this raid it wasn't empty but we looted away. We had a whole bag full of loot, but I couldn't find the other player and I didn't even hear him at all this raid. So I went my way to Blue Office to find some rare valuables. This was an amazing death. I wasted my whole time looting all this stuff, and then I just died to someone who'd never made a single ounce of sound. So my last raid I was annoyed at that death by the PPSH, and then this raid on top of that I was fuming. Day 81 to 84 is full of loot montages, so enjoy the ASMR loot montage. And with this loot pool we got a lot of rare valuables such as a lead X and a lot of good stems. And in this raid we got 2.4 million, almost beating our record. This raid was pretty awful and we only got 800k worth of gear and items. On day 83 while doing this loot montage, something interesting happens.
Hello there.
Oh wait, I died. So remember when I said these days were all loot montages? Well, I lied. I swear the next day is actually a loot montage. And in this loot montage there was a man, so obviously I had to kind of take care of him. He didn't have much loot, but he had some decent rigs to actually hold the loot. But after that random NPC encounter, we went on our way. And we extracted with a good amount of stuff, weapons, an extra bag, rigs, and all sorts of stuff. And we made 1.3 million rubles worth of gear and items. Now these next two raids were actually interesting because there's a decent amount of PvP going on. I ran over to Black Room and I heard a bit of commotion going on. That guy got absolutely dusted and he had some decent loot with an MP7 and an AVS rig. And when I was looting Black, a guy was trying to come over to steal my goods. and we won the fight. This guy had some pretty horrible loot, he didn't have a great gun at all. But after dealing with him, we went on our way. And when I was running for the extract, there were raiders guarding it, so obviously this is just more loot for myself. The raiders had some decent loot with a Banshee rig and an MP5 with some decent ammo. The second raider didn't have that great items, but he did have an MP5 with some Quakemaker ammo. And this was a decent raid, sorry for all of the images here, there was a lot to go through. And in total we made 1.9 million rubles. On day 86, this might be the most glitchiest kill that I've gotten so far. When I was looting Red Room, I was just doing my usual run, and then I heard someone right below me, so I took a little peek. And somehow I killed this person. I don't know how, he just lagged back and just died. I shot him in the leg and that was it. And in terms of loot, he didn't have much, he was pretty much just a rat on Labs. But when I got to the middle of Labs, I heard another player as well. I sadly whiffed my shots, but I decided to go around and look at him from above. We won the fight, and when I was reloading my mag, his teammate threw a nade, meaning there was one more left. And honestly, I spent 20 minutes trying to find this guy and I just couldn't find him. And when I was trying to find him, I ended up running into some raiders.
Enemy frag!
This raider had some alright stuff, he had a lot of stacking rigs and some good 60 rounders. The next raider didn't have that great stuff, just an MP5. But yeah, sadly I didn't loot that dead body, it seemed like too much of a risk. But we still got a lot of decent stuff this raid and we ended up making 1.1 million rubles. On day 87 we spawned on the metal stairs and ran straight to black. And when we got to black there was a little man peeking through the window. And we won another PvP fight. I honestly think I was on fire these raids. And when I went in black, I found a Ledex as well, which was even better. But when I checked his loot, he was level 41 with a Packer, which I found pretty weird. But he had some swagged out John B glasses. And after that, I went straight over to Red Room. And I thought I was on fire, but sadly, I just got put down. On day 88 we got another rat encounter, and when I was running to Black Room, keep your ears out for a specific sound. Did you hear it? Replay it back. That was the sound of a door shutting, and at first I thought this was actually above me in Sanitar's closet, but I was dead wrong. And sadly we got caught in the rat trap and he got all of my loot. I was so gutted at this death. On day 89 this was an empty raid, so this will be a really quick one. And honestly we didn't get much stuff sadly. The GPU made a lot of money on this raid, but in total we made 1.1 million rubles. Day 90 was an interesting day. At the start of the round people were spamming the buzzers, meaning raiders were spawning everywhere. So by the time I was looting red, they were coming through the front door. The first raider had some pretty bad stuff. He only had a takedown bag, which was good for stacking. The second raider was juiced with an AVS rig and an M4 with 60 rounders. And when I was actually looting the second raider, I heard footsteps near the middle of the map. he got absolutely one-tapped. This player that I killed had some decent stuff as well. Again, everybody in Labs is running with John B glasses for some weird reason. And in the middle of this raid, I just realised I forgot to loot that third raider. I just didn't function that in my head at the time. But after this was all the commotion that went on, so we went away and looted. And after that raid, we got a lot of gear and a lot of good items, but sadly, this wasn't very valuable, and we only got 1.7 million rubles this raid. We're on day 91, which means there's 10 more days to go. So let's make these next 10 days an absolute banger. But first, we're going to Blackroom. This guy had a meta out kit which was great for me, and after cleaning this guy up, it was time to loot. And when I was looting, the raiders were shooting at someone. So I went to investigate. The raiders killed the player, and I think this guy was trying to kill me from above when I was looting in the middle. So firstly, I had to hunt out the raiders that killed the man. The first raider had some 60 rounders, a good rig and a good helmet, and the second raider only had an MP5. But if you have a keen eye, you will realise that this guy we have killed before, and it's this guy in this loot montage who we refer to as the man. And I feel so bad for this guy. He got absolutely dusted by me, and then we run into him and he died by a raider. He probably honestly got off for the night. But he had some decent loot with an MPPV rig, which was good for stacking loot, and I'll take a free MP7 any day. But after we looted this guy, we continued on our way. And with this raid, we extracted with a good amount of gear, and we got 1.7 million rubles. On day 92, we spawned in, and there was a guy right in front of me. He ran away, but we decided to chase him. We managed to eat his toes up, and honestly this guy had some pretty awful loot. But other than that, this was a pretty quiet raid, just the standard stuff. When I got to top, I seen the boys, so I had to post up and wait for them to come to me. The first raider only had a Strandhog rig for us to loot. The second raider had an AK with 60 rounders. The third raider had an MPX with Luger ammo. And finally, the last raider didn't have much stuff, just an MMAC rig and a pretty bad gun. But other than that, we extracted this raid, we got a Bitcoin and many other items, which means we made 1.4 million rubles. On day 93, it was nothing but a chilled, empty raid. We didn't make much in small items, but we did get a Ledex, meaning we made 2.1 million rubles. On day 94, we ran to Blackroom. And when we ran to Blackroom, there was a lot of commotion right above us, so we went to check it out. Sadly, we died by one of the players, but if we could have survived that, that would have been juiced. Day 95 went absolutely great. We got to Blackroom and we were contested. And we won the fight. I was pretty damaged after this fight, but we healed up and checked his loot. I tried to check his loot, but our raiders were in the middle.
Проебался-то! Ниндзя ёбаный! See the enemy.
I was whiffing my shots like mad, and I started to panic. And honestly, I never knew that raiders could actually go into black now, and I guess I learnt something new this raid, but this was a pretty bad death. Day 96 was an experience to say the least, and honestly it's been such a blast. And I wanted this raid to showcase this, as day 96 was probably my most favourite day, as it was full of absolutely everything. The guy only had an MP7. And after fighting all of the guys, these guys were loaded. Meta M4, a Meta SA58 and a decent RD. Honestly, this raid was stacked full of loot. At the top of this we had 2 of the best rigs in the game for loot. So this could be the raid that we beat our record of 2.5 million rubles. And at this time we found the biggest bag in the game just sitting on the stairs here, so we kindly took that. And then we extracted, we got so many gun attachments, and these were worth so much money, as well as 2 GPUs, and in total we made 3.1 million rubles, beating our all-time record. Day 97 was honestly a goose chase raid. When I got to garage I noticed the door was opened and this happened.
Stop right there, criminal scum.
I was so close to death and I was prone behind this car, but I took some meds and I had to run to heal. So I dropped my bag and I decided to chase him. But when I got here, when he was shooting me at the garage, there was nothing here, just a bit of blood on the floor, and he disappeared. I went back for my bag and then I went to extract, but then I heard him. He just broke some glass, meaning he could be near the garage area, so I went to investigate, because I'm not letting this guy own labs over me. Just like that we took back labs, and you might have heard some raiders shoot at me and they were coming my way, so I had to prepare against them. Luckily I didn't die there, I did a little walk of shame, but they were coming full force through this door. And after killing the 2 raiders, this guy was stacked. He had the best bag in the game, a Meta M4 and a TV rig. The raiders honestly didn't have much stuff, but we extracted, and in this raid it was pretty good. Got a GPU and many other things, and we got 1.7 million rubles worth of gear and items. Day 98 to 99 were just loot days, and these are my final loot days, so enjoy it, as this is the last one out of the lot. We extracted this raid and we got so many high valuable stuff: roosters, cats, ledex, bitcoins, everything. And in total we made 3 million rubles, almost tying with our record. We extracted this raid and we didn't get much. Our ledex helped us out a lot, and we got 2.2 million rubles. On day 100 we decided to take out the chaddiest kit yet. We put on the John B glasses and we were taking a GL40. Known as a ratty gun and a chaddy gun, as this costs a lot of money to take in, but I wanted to go out with a bang. The guy we just killed had no headphones, a standard SVD and a big bag and rig. Honestly, I think this guy is a cheater, and how funny is it on day 100 we actually managed to kill a cheater, but we still had to sniff out the other players. This guy had an MP7 and a tier 6 rig, but we moved on to the next player. And at the end of this raid we got 1 million rubles. After all of those 100 days, we've had some funky raids. Ah! I can't win! We've had days where people jump right into my face with not a care in the world. We've had days where we make massive profit on the map of Labs. And in total we made 3.1 million rubles, beating our all-time record. We've had days where we've absolutely chadded out and slayed a whole lobby. And we've even had days where we've ratted on people and scurried away with the loot of Labs. But nothing, and I mean nothing, can top day 100 of killing a cheater and clearing the lobby out. Probably the most fun raid out of them all, and a bit poetic as it was our final day. And going through all these raids, there are some moments where I regret and I even question myself, why did I even do this? And my idiot brain thought, oh, just go back in the same spot, you'll be fine, and then I get shot in the back again. I don't know what I was thinking this raid, honestly. But while doing this challenge, I always ran past the sign on Labs, and some of you might know what sign I'm talking about. And the sign read, nobody who ever gave their best regretted it.